Aloha and welcome to the Big Island of Hawaii. My name is Kevin Tedonio with This Week in Triathlon. And behind me I have the beautiful Pacific Ocean and Hawaii Drive. And obviously this Saturday is the Ironman World Championships here on the Big Island. And there's a lot of discussion as to who the favorites are, who are the primary contenders for the top 10 or the overall win here on the Big Island for the pro field. And there's a lot of just subjective kind of who's good, who's not looking so good. But the American statistician Edwards Deming once said, "In God we trust. For all others, they must bring data." And that's for this reason I'm coming to you live right now with Thorsten Radde from Germany. He's 12 hours ahead of me in Europe right now, and he has missed their data, aren't you, Thorsten?
Hi there. How you doing? Great to be on.
Yeah, absolutely. So Thorsten, I became aware of your website. Your website is TriRatingcom, and this is the first time I've ever seen anyone put any real thought and data and hard metrics behind predicting the outcome of Ironman races through just kind of a database system that you've put together on TriRating.com. And congratulations to you, because it's actually pretty interesting stuff. Can you tell me a little bit about your background and how you got into TriRating?
Yeah, thanks. Well, it's putting together the two main areas that I put time into, other than maybe family, is going to work as an IT consultant, doing a lot of stuff with computers, data analyzing databases, and so on. And the other thing is endurance sports and triathlon in particular. And I just found a way of putting those two things together and have some fun, taken away from my training time, of course, but maybe that's my way of living the Ironman lifestyle instead of becoming a pro, which I will never be able to do.
Well, what's great about your site, Thorsten, is that a lot of people might be familiar with, say, Craig Alexander or Pete Jacobs or Leanda Cave, but on your website you actually have all of the pros, the top 85 athletes for both men and women, and you have it broken down and actually have almost like handicapped what you think they're going to swim, what they're going to bike, what they're going to run, and how they're going to finish overall. How do you compile this data for everyone that's racing?
Well, first of all, it's a big collecting data project. I went through a number of different websites and existing databases of triathlon results and tried to get all the Ironman distance results, basically starting since 2005, which is kind of the arbitrary starting point that I was using. And there's not too many people left who raced before that. I think Ferris is still around, and maybe Eneko who started in 2005. But other than that, I don't think there's too many people who raced Ironman back in 2005 who's still active right now. So I have a pretty decent-sized, more or less complete database of all the Ironman distance races that are out there. And I use that to analyze the different results that people had, and try to use the data that I have in a way so that I account for courses or conditions that have been fast or that have been slow for a certain race. So I can maybe offer a bit more objective point of how fast was this 8:05 that whoever did in whatever race, and allow that to come up with comparisons between people that don't race each other very often. So I can say that people who never raced each other, who had the better results, even if the times were done on totally different courses and totally different conditions. And for example, you've just raced Tahoe, which was kind of slow, I guess. How do you compare that to a result that some other pro put up in Austria, which is one of the faster courses? How do you compare these? I mean, obviously the times in Tahoe would be expected to be slower, but if you race, say, 8:45 in Tahoe, what does that compare in Austria to? Is that a 8:15? Is that an 8 hours, or even faster, or are the times more or less the same? And the way I do my analysis, I can come up with a statistical view of doing that. Statistical is always a bit of lying, but it's probably closer to the truth than just the gut feeling is, and it's more objective than maybe just looking at the raw numbers and come up with that. And I'm doing that not only for the whole finishing time, for the overall finishing time, but also for the individual legs within a triathlon. Swimming is not that much of a difference, but for example, you are able to see the difference between an ocean swim in Kona to maybe the swim in the channel in Road, which is a lot faster than what you're seeing in Kona. Wetsuit, non-wetsuit, ocean, lake swims. You can spot the differences there. Differences get bigger.
I have a question for you, Thorsten.
Sure.
On your rating, so you obviously have all the pro men and pro women. Do you ever have athletes email you and say, "Hey, I deserve better than this. Why am I so far down?" Do you ever have athletes contacting you about that?
I haven't had it directly from pros. Sometimes I got feedback from pros that when I make up my predictions, they say, "Well, you only predicted me 850. If I'm going that slow, I'm going to shoot myself, or I'm going to end my pro career." But what I heard more often was, for example, when I did my earlier predictions, Pete Jacobs was way back because he was racing so often with not so good results, except for in Kona. So I really had to juggle my system a little bit to be closer to what he's able to do. But yes, people have been not too happy with the numbers I was putting out.
So over time, has your model been improving accuracy and forecasting results?
To tell you the truth, I'm not exactly tracking, predicted to actual results too closely. But my feeling is that I was able to get the winners in most races more or less right, or at least they came from the top 3 of my prediction lists. So I think I'm doing a pretty good job of coming up with predictions. The trickier things for the races, I mean, that's not a problem we have in Kona, is that the start lists are sometimes they don't have too much to do with what actually happens on race day. A lot of people showing up on race day that haven't actually made it to the start list, or people on the start list that have decided not to race. That's sometimes a problem, and that's often one of the main differences that come up between my predictions and the actual results.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. It's incredibly difficult to forecast what's going to happen on race day. But what I actually like about your site a lot is that there's so many athletes. It's actually hard to remember how good they all are. So when I can go to your site and look back and say, oh yeah, they're actually a pretty good biker, pretty good runner. Mm-hmm. What your site does is that kind of shows apples to apples. Forget about subjective reasoning. Just go back to the results and see who's done what. There's no line about it. You can see who the fastest swimmers are, the fastest bikers, the fastest runners. And on race day, I can kind of, I know who I'm going to be looking at a little bit more closely based off of your website. So I appreciate what you're doing on TriRating. It's very interesting stuff. I'm looking forward to kind of where do you think you're actually going to be taking this, Thorsten? Is kind of what you're doing now? You want to continue to do doing, or are you going to be going to Vegas and be an odds maker for? Are you going to be a bookie for?
Oh, I don't want to go through all the regulation to be a real betting site. A friend of mine, Luke Draxler, and I are putting up a betting site where people just kind of offer their predictions, but we're just offering like a price that sponsors donated. No, what I'm doing is it's just a fun thing that I'm doing. It takes up some time. I do get some feedback from people that I wouldn't have been in contact with at all if I hadn't done that. Maybe throw up an ad here or there, earn some extra money to allow me to finance a week of training camp or something. And if I ever make it out to Kona, at least have some people that would know me and that I'd be able to talk to and that would show me around then. I don't see this as a major source of income or my way of earning a living. I don't think there's enough money in that. Probably picked the wrong sport for that.
Well, just so our viewers know, you can actually download the TriRating Kona kind of predictions. You can download a PDF, which is actually a pretty comprehensive document. It's on your website. It is free, but you are asking for some donations, and I'm happy to say I donated. I think the price of just a high quality magazine is about $7, and you put a lot of work into that. So I think it's worth at least that. So I encourage our viewers to download your PDF, and if you can make a contribution to Thorsten. So Thorsten, when are you actually going to make it out to Hawaii? When can I show you around?
Yeah, well, see, I got to find the right thing. I still have a job that I need to earn some money from, and it's freelance consulting work, so I am kind of free in getting my time sorted, but there's projects going on right now that keep me from going there, and well, maybe 2014, maybe 2015, we'll see how things work out. I'll let you know before I come over, and then we can link up in Kona.
Okay, so Thorsten Radde from TriRatingcom, check it out, and we'll be bringing you more information and more news from the Big Island this week. So stay tuned to This Week in Triathlon. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Thorsten.
Thank you. Bye-bye.